up, Bills Mafia? That's Fernando Schmude, and that's your leading the charge. And I'm really glad to be part of the team as the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast and podcast now. And today, this leading the charge at Buffalo Rumblings is completely in English. So my first one for my American brothers, my American Bills Mafia partners. Okay, I used to create content from Brazilian Bills Mafia, but today I'm gonna create in English for you, and I hope you enjoy it and you can participate and give your opinions alongside mine so we can evaluate this situation, the roster situation of Buffalo Bills ahead of the free agency, ahead of the 2023 NFL draft. So I'm gonna use an exercise. Okay, I hope you enjoy. It's an exercise that I used to write articles for Cover One using it. Okay, and we used to call it the Lofton exercise. And the reason it's called the Lofton exercise, named after the legendary Buffalo Bills wide receiver, Hall of Famer James Lofton, is because in a Tim Graham show appearance, okay, Lofton revealed about when he was part of the San Diego Chargers back in the day coaching staff, and the legendary late rest in peace head coach Marty Schottenheimer used to use this exercise to evaluate his rosters. Okay, um, and he used to be really great rosters back in the day with the San Diego Chargers. Okay, and he used it to ask from his coaching staff um, about his players to divide them in tiers. Okay, and the three tiers he made available for his coaching staff were are these players good enough to win with? Okay, the mid tier. Can they win games for you? The biggest tier, the first tier, okay. Or do you need better than that? All right. So he used to ask his coaching staff to put the players in those tiers. Okay, can win games for you, you can win with, or you need better. And with the opinions about all his coaching staff, he could evaluate his roster and build really good teams back in the day with the San Diego Chargers between 2002 2006. All right. So I'm gonna use this exercise created by Schottenheimer to evaluate the state of the Buffalo Bills rosters nowadays, ahead of free agency, ahead of the draft, so we can have an idea about which positions do we need to invest during the free agency, during the draft? What do we really need better? And where are we set? Where can we count on guys to win games for us? Okay, join me, give your opinions. It's going to be a pleasure to interact with you in the comment sections at Buffalo Rumblings, in the comment sections here on YouTube, on my channel, on Buffalo Rumblings channel. So let's go. Don't let's go ahead and do the exercise. I'm gonna use Madden, okay, for depth chart purpose, and the reasons are I'm really used to use it, okay. I'm very familiar with the depth charts at Madden, and I made some changes so we could maximize the use of this tool to do our exercise. Okay, let me share the screen here, and let's go. Let's start checking. Here we have the Buffalo Bills offense, all right? And Madden actually gives us, so I first of all, I will ask you to don't care about the Madden ratings, okay? I didn't touch it. I'm using a modded version of Madden 22, so I think it's the best option available. And so I really ask you to don't pay attention to the Madden ratings. And I made some edits using the Madden tiers the way Schottenheimer used to ask his coaching staff to put his players. All right. So for people familiarized with Madden, they have normal development players that are the bronze ones. Okay. They have star development players that are the silver ones. They have superstar development players that are the golden ones, okay, and they have the X Factor players that are the red ones, okay. So I'm gonna use the tiers uh, making a connection to Schottenheimer's exercise, I'm gonna use normal players as need better. Okay, we need better than these players. Silver players, you can win with them. Golden players can win games for you, but I have some observations to make about them and to debate with you about them. And the red ones, the X Factor players, are the no question, no brainer, can win games for you. Superstar elite players in the game, top tier in the NFL. All right. So I'm going to start with the players on our offense. Okay. And let's start at the most important position where we have nothing to discuss. Josh Allen, top tier in the NFL, no doubt, a top three quarterback in the league today. Okay, unquestionable. Uh, some people have him at number one. Some people have him at number three. I think Mahomes has done enough to justify being number one nowadays, but I really have Josh as number two, and the reason is I don't believe he has as much help as Burrow has around him. Okay, yeah, he needs to do way more with way less, and I think his skill set's more complete. So I have Josh Allen as number two, and with potential, why not to challenge Mahomes going forward? Okay, I think he has already done it in the past. We have seen it in the past in some games, some Buffalo Kansas City games, and I think uh, it's very easy to understand why having Josh Allen in this tier. So in our exercise, he would be a guy who I would tell Schottenheimer, look, this guy can win games for you. You can count on him, and we are set at the most important position. So that's a great start for Buffalo, no doubt. Okay, going forward, let's check the backfield, and I have the free agents here also. Right, I have Devin Singletary, who's a free agent who I don't believe he's going to be back. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big time fan of Mother. Okay, I really believed in Mother. I think if he had a better offensive line, better blocking, he could have done more for Buffalo. I like his game. I wouldn't be opposed to after he checks free agency, after maybe he strikes out, since that's a rich class at the running back position. I wouldn't be against bringing Motor back for ship to compete. All right, especially if you're riding with James Cook and Naheem Hines. Why not have Motor um, competing for snaps? Okay, I think he's actually the most secure, the most safe option. Okay, between the three to lead the backfield. So anyway, I put him as you need better. Okay, because unfortunately, with the situation of Buffalo Bills offensive line, you really need better than Devin Singletary at the running back position. You need somebody who can create uh, spaces, can find holes, even if they aren't there. That's the situation you gotta deal with this offensive line. So nowadays, with what we have seen from this offense, I think you need better than Mother at the running back position. That's why I put him as a bronze guy, as a low-tier guy. Okay, I don't believe he's gonna be back. So moving forward, we have James Cook, who I believe can be a guy you can win with. All right, that's very debatable because despite his performance and his touches increasing as the season went on, it's debatable if James Cook can really be a bell cow in our backfield. All right, so I think you can win with him as a complementary back, a part of a two-head monster, a three-headed monster backfield. So with his potential, with the flashes he showed, I think it's understandable to have him a guy you can win with. All right, I think he has potential to become a guy who can win games for you. Okay, but also maybe he can show with more touches that he's just not enough as your lead back. who knows? We need to see more from James Cook. There is a reason he was a rookie. So I have him between the two tiers that are possible, and you can win with him. Same situation with Naheem Hines. And I don't see Naheem Hines as a potential threat to surpass James Cook as the leading back. So maybe there is a reason to have him as a unit better, considering him just a running back. But since he's your returner, kick returner, and he really can win games for you there, all right? He showed it against the Patriots last season. I have him as a guy you can win with, all right, because he can be a complementary piece in the backfield. He's a good pass catching back. He has shown it in his career, and he's a really good returner. So you can win with him. I have the balance if you can win with him. All right. And Tayon Jones, a special teamer. Actually, a guy I don't think you can ask much more, sorry, from a gunner. But so I'm not sure if he's going to be back. Maybe he retires. So I didn't even wasted time putting him in a tier because he's a specialist, and I'm not focusing on specialists today. All right, I'm focusing on starting more on starters, but on offense and defense. All right, so that's the backfield plus Reggie Gillian, who I think as a fullback. All right, he doesn't play enough to be a big time piece to win games for you. Okay, I think he's solid in his role, and I'd have him. You can win games with him. All right, as your fullback. I made a change here in the depth chart. Okay, this position used to be fullback, but I please ignore the term here, FB fullback, and consider it as a slot receiver. We know the slot receiver plays way more than or fullback, right? So that's the reason I did McKenzie, Beasley, so we can have them in the mainstream instead of needing to go to specialists, and we can evaluate them as a part of the offense, as a big part of the offense, since that's really what they are as the slot receivers, all right? So since I already made this the case for why having a slot receiver here in the fullback position, okay, let's talk wide receivers. And that's where I really a little bit worried about our roster, okay? Starting with Diggs, no brainer, no doubt, elite. The words I use to describe Josh, I can use to describe Diggs, okay? Elite talent, top tier and NFL wide receiver, top 5 in the league, no doubt. Can't have much better than him, can't have any better than him, actually. So he's a guy who wins games for you, no doubt, okay? But at wide receiver 2, I have Gabe Davis, and I know that's debatable, no doubt, okay? And I'm curious to hear from you on the comment sections about what's your opinion on Gabriel Davis, because if you had this exercise a year ago, if I could had done that a year ago before last off season, before last season, I would have Gabriel Davis as a gold guy here, okay, a guy who could win games for you as a wide receiver 2, coming from that awesome game against the Chiefs during the playoffs, and he really showed enough to be in that tier where you could consider Gabe Davis as an up-and-coming superstar in the league. Unfortunately, okay, he stepped up in this role as a wide receiver 2, and I never felt during this season that he played at that level. Okay, he started hot against the Rams, but he never justified being considered a wide receiver 2 who can win games for you. So maybe it would be more fair to have him as a guy who you can win with. But sorry, I'm considering wide receiver 2 a guy who really can step up and make awesome catches, crucial catches, win games for you, as Gabe Davis did against the Chiefs, taking the advantage of all the attention sent to Stephon Diggs and making people pay, right? Opposing defenses pay. I didn't see Gabe Davis doing that. And you can question, oh, Dorsey didn't use him the right way. He was used as a deep threat, didn't have enough reps or opportunities down with short catches or catch and run opportunities, medium routes, not going deep. He was always sent deep, things like that. But I don't know about you, but I felt like he had plenty of opportunities to make game-winning plays on those of these deep opportunities and drop the ball, couldn't win contested catches. So I was really upset with the way Gabe Davis played this season. I didn't like a lot of times where he didn't show enough the desire, like the body language, the not always, but on some of Josh's interceptions, I felt like he could have fought from those balls. And for example, I remember Jair Alexander making a diving interception right at Gabe Davis' feet. So there was no reason why Gabe couldn't dive for that ball and at least fight for it and avoid the interception. So I felt like Gabe Davis could have done better. I obviously think he has potential, not just to become a guy you can win with at wide receiver two, but a guy who can win games for you at wide receiver two. He has already showed it in the past. But right now, the latest that I've seen from Gabe Davis, I need to have him as you need better play from your wide receiver too. That's why I have Gabe Davis in the need better tier, the long possible one. Um, Again, I know it's debatable, but that's how I feel. Maybe competition uh, can make him step up again and become a guy you can win with, a guy we can win games for you. But right now, I would consider going to the free agency, going to the draft. I'd consider him a guy you need better, and I target a guy in the draft or maybe a Didi Shark type in the free agency, a big guy with speed that can go deep, just like Davis, or even faster Davis, bigger Davis. All right, just to challenge him for that spot. So that's how I feel about Davis. Keeping with the outside guys, okay? Camero is a special teamer. He might be gone. And then we have Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir, I love to hear he's training with Eric Moulds. I'm a big time Eric Moulds fan. Okay, and he couldn't be practicing with a better role model for him. Different type of guys, obviously, but I'm curious to see Shakir this season, to see him battling for a roster spot, not a roster spot, but a rotation spot for snaps, right? He can play inside. He might be able to play outside more often. I'm curious, but right now with what we've seen, right, we need better. Maybe it's just a question of giving him the opportunity, a matter of his natural growing, and he will be a guy you can win with, maybe, all right? But right now, we need better, no doubt. Mackenzie, let's go to this slot, move to this slot spot. Need better. Sorry, Isaiah. I love Isaiah McKenzie as a character, as a teammate. All right. I think he had his moments as a gadget guy, but as your main slot option, we saw in the past, we saw 2 years ago, right, or 3 years ago, 2 3 years ago, we saw what an elite slot option can do for you in Cole Beasley all pro season, right? So McKenzie was growing. McKenzie showed some promising snaps, right? But he showed flashes, no doubt. But when the opportunity arrived, it seemed like he made mistakes at the most crucial moments, and it was really upsetting. So I don't think we can go to the season with McKenzie as your number one slot guy. We definitely don't need him anymore as a returner. He was expected to be, let's remember, don't forget this. He was expected to be your main returner, right? And he couldn't hold on that opportunity, that role. And he couldn't hold on the slot role neither, right? Because we needed to bring Beasley back late in the year, and a big reason was because Mackenzie was falling short, dropping the ball, committing mistakes. So really need better than Mackenzie. That's the truth, all right. And he might be cut. I don't know. It's a real option, right? So we need better than him at the slot position, no doubt. And Beasley, who's open to come back, he said that he he said in the interviews that he would like to be back in Buffalo next season. I'm not totally against it. I'd rather have Beasley still than Mackenzie, and the reason is the reality. Beasley came out of the couch to play for us, right? So with an off season to prepare and to be ready for next season, I really believe Beasley can offer way more than Mackenzie. I think the repertoire with Allen is way better. I think he's a more savvy guy. He can uh, definitely play better from the slot than Mackenzie. Uh, but still, until he proves that he can come back to a really good level, we really need better. The latest we've seen from Beasley, we need better than him at the slot. And we still have, and the same thing about Jameson Crowder, who's coming from injury, who I had big time expectation when he was signed, but he never was able to be healthy, right? That's the truth. To stay healthy and to win the job from Mackenzie. So if he is willing to come back, just like I'm talking about Beasley, in a very cheap deal to fight for a spot, I'm not against it. All right, I think he can definitely be this kind of savvy slot option. But right now, neither of these options are guys that really you can win with as a slot guy. We need better than that. All right, and maybe a guy early in the draft, a Josh Downs type, who's more recently is a guy who's starting to fall down in the mock drafts. All right, and you might be able to grab him in the second round. I do it as a no-brainer because that's a guy who can be a good option in the slot. All right, so maybe free agency, who knows, right? Maybe a guy like I said, like Didi Chart is a guy who you can line up outside, opposite to Gabriel Davis, and move Diggs more inside. We can't forget Diggs is getting older, and older guys tends to start to play more inside. I think Diggs every time he moves inside, and Dorsey has done it a lot, moving around to show man or zone for Josh. Every time he moves inside, it's a mismatch. He more often than not def, burns his coverage guys, linebackers, safeties playing inside, trying to cover him. So I think the Bills should consider moving Diggs more inside next year and finding help outside at the wide receiver position. Sorry. So finishing the skill position, guys. Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox, a guy who I have as you can win with. All right, the potential to win games for you is there, but sometimes the drops, sometimes the low usage by Dorsey, the way he's being used. Sometimes even Josh avoiding throwing it short to Knox, right? Um, the circumstances haven't allowed Knox to become a can win games for you type wide receiver. So you can win games with Dawson Knox. I don't think you need to get a better guy than him. But being early today, talking about from the combine, right? And when asked about wide receiver, he said, "Look, I'm looking for playmakers, and it can be a tight end, it can be a running back. So maybe okay at the time by the time the Bills pick, you can have pretty good options at the tight end position, and the Bills might consider it because you can definitely use a Kincaid type, a Musgrave type, uh, lining up alongside Knox. All right, and you can, just like being said, you can force defenses to use more base than nickel against you. You can run the ball better. You still have a playmaker at the tight end position with size, with rack possibilities, right? So who knows? Maybe adding a nice tight end in the draft is a real option here, and I wouldn't be really upset if being drafts a one of these expected to be really good tight ends early in the draft. And to finish the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line, right? For offensive line, as it was last season, and we're missing uh, Saffold is a free agent, being still talks about the possibility of bringing him back, right? But right now, that was the offensive line, and we have three guys who we can win with. All right, and these guys are Dion Dawkins, Mitch Morse, and Ryan Bates. Oh, Fernando, but I believe Morse is a top five, a top 10 center in the league. He can win games for you. Do you really believe he can win games for you? I agree that the Bills miss Morse badly every time he's out of the field, injured. All right, but I don't see he's that center that really wins games for you. That guy that, look, I'm gonna run behind Morse now and we're gonna get that 1 yard. Okay, he's great as a pulling guy, leading runs, especially for Josh Allen, right? I love Mitch Morse. He's smart. I really think the team feels a lot when he's out, but I just don't see him as that dominant force at the offensive line. And I don't see any of the Bills' offensive line in this way. All right, to be a guy who can win games for you at the offensive line, in my opinion, that's a guy who can shut down an elite pass rusher, a guy who can dominate inside, mauling people, and hardly ever gets beat and can really maul people in the running game. I don't see Morse like this. I think he's a savvy veteran, important piece, but a guy you can win with, not a guy who win games for you. Okay, I don't think you need better than Morse, no way. But I'm a little bit afraid with his concussion history. All right, and he's a guy who can offers huge savings if he gets cut this season. So I keep an eye on this situation because the Bills could be afraid of losing Morse with another concussion, something like that. If you cut him, he actually opens up space cap uh, pretty near as a cap space open by trading Oliver, for example. That's a hot topic right now, and I keep an eye on that. Morse has been benched in the past some years ago. We can remember that, and the Bills can move Bates to center. They can draft a guard can early. They can go after people in the free agency. So the free agency should be good indication for what decisions are going to be made at the offensive line. Anyway, I trust Morse, I trust Bates, and I trust Dawkins, the guys you can win with. I think Dawkins, some people kind of overrate Dawkins. I don't think he's that great left tackle that a lot of Bills Mafia believes. He's not bad, but he's not elite. All right, he gets beat more often than I'd like for your left tackle. But I think you can win with him. And Bates, I think he's smart. I think he's really, maybe he's not the kind of uh, player Cromer likes for his offensive line. A sturdier, a stronger guard, a guy who can maul people. He's more um, a technique standpoint guard. He's more like mobile kind of guard, not so heavy, not so strong, but he gets the job done. I like Bates. I like his versatility, and I'm glad the Bills have him under contract for some years. I think he gives you some a decent floor at the position. All right. Saffold is a free agent, and I wouldn't bring him back. Okay, he was really kind, really nice to me recently, answering a tweet when I asked about what happened. He tweeted about, "Oh, I'm gonna get back stronger next year. Now that I saw that you can't, when you get older, you can't relax, you get work more." So he tweeted something like that, and in the comments, I made an honest question about what do you think. Uh, what do you think that went wrong with that group? Because on paper and with Cromer as a new coach, it looked good, right? And he said like, "Oh, okay, it's a new scheme for all of us, and it was a little bit difficult early, and but I think the guys will be fine and things like that." And so, a nice guy, okay. I think he can play in a good level. Maybe it was this past season wasn't a wake up call, but he really played bad last season. And if the Bills strike out on other options in the free agency, I wouldn't be against bringing Seffold back for very cheap as a veteran option, and maybe go to the draft and see if you can get an upgrade there in the draft. But you need better than what Seffold showed us. So. Uh, Same thing with Butker and Murray, all right? And for Roten, same thing. Bobby Hart, no doubt, same thing. And Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown definitely missed that off-season period from last year. The surgery, back issues, no doubt it was a problem for him. Young guy, being talks all the time how he didn't play due to COVID during college a lot, and then he played against lesser competition. He has the tools, athletically speaking, but he need better. He need better than what he has done. I think the year one was promising, but year two was depressing, right? So I really believe he can take advantage of this offseason, work hard, come back better, but you can't bet on it going to the next season with Super Bowl aspirations and believing Spencer Brown is going to get better and we can bet on it, right? You got to bring competition. The competition must be better than Kissenberry, all right? So I'm going to keep an eye on free agency. No doubt during the draft, same thing. But you got to bring competition to Brown. You can't come to next season as we came last season, okay? And trust Spencer Brown to be your number one guy at right tackle. One of the reasons the offense was so out of rhythm so often was because Brown's struggles and of um, lack of continuity, lack of consistency. Sorry. Okay, Mafia. So that's my opinion on offense. Let me know about your opinion. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know about the players you think I misevaluated here. I'm gonna go defense soon. All right, and I'm really curious to check on your comments in the comment section at Buffalo Rumblings on the YouTube channel comments. Okay, I'm really curious about it. So I wanna ask you to follow me on Twitter, right? Follow me at Fernando Schmude at Twitter. I'm always retweeting all stuff related to Bills. Um, you can follow all news and all my work is posted there. Okay, via Buffalo Rumblings now. This new partnership. I'm very excited to be part of the community again. To be back with the community now as part of the team. All right. And also follow me on Twitch. Okay, FH1S Live. I have a lot of Madden content there for people who likes Madden, who likes gaming. I'm using Madden now to showcase the depth chart, and I have a lot of Madden content there. Maybe I can create more Madden content going forward for Buffalo Rumblings. Who knows? Let me know about this. Let me know. We can work on it, no doubt. So let's check the defense side of the ball now. All right, and I'm gonna share my Madden screen again, and let's talk defense. All right, again, doing the Schottenheimer Lofton exercise, evaluating the Bills roster using tiers. Okay, can guys win games for you? Can you win with those guys, or you need better? So in our offense, the balance is, I think you did better overall, right? No wonder this offense underachieved when you needed it most, because with two guys who can win games for you and they are directly connected at cornerback position and the wide receiver position, okay, you having only one more guy who you can win with in the skill position players, and you needing better in two positions in the offensive line, it's very likely that that offense will fall short when you need it the most, and that's what happened against the Bengals, right? So let's look at the other side of the ball. All right, let's look at the defense. So the defense looks really better. All right, if we put the free agents in. All right, let me put them back here. Let me put the free agents back in. All right. So if you put the free agents back in, oh, and another observation, the same way I edited the fullback position to showcase the slot position here instead of a fullback, since we play three wide receivers the majority of the time, that's our offense. We know our defense is the majority of the time in the nickel, right? It's not a base for three defense, really. It's a nickel defense with Taron Johnson playing weak side linebacker sometimes and playing nickel corner and being in the box a lot, right? So I did Taron Johnson and Siren Neal as a outside linebacker, so they could be here easily as nickel corners, all right? So if I have all these all these free agents back in the lineup, all the guys injured back in the lineup, it really looks good, right? It really looks good. Okay, starting from the trenches, all right, or defensive line has in Rousseau a guy you can win with. I think he has developed nicely. I think he can become a guy who can win games for you. I think he might be already there against the run. He's definitely already there here against the run, but we saw without Vaughn that he isn't yet that dominant pass rusher, and that's where you expect the most from our edge guys, right? So I have Rousseau as a guy you can win with, a fine guy at the defensive end, two spot, opposite our star player Von Miller, who we don't know how he's coming back, when he's coming back, how will he play, if he's gonna be explosive as before. You know, he's not really young, but the latest we've seen from Von, I really can't believe he isn't coming back strong and he isn't coming back playing at a really dominant level. He's just one of those guys that are freaks, right? And I really believe he can come back and be a disruptive force out of the edges for the Bills. So I have him as a superstar guy, a guy who can win games for you, no doubt. All right. Inside, we have Daquan Jones at Oliver. And I'm going to start with Daquan Jones because he's our defensive tackle one, in my opinion. All right. Daquan Jones, I have him as a guy who can win games for you, who might be debatable for some people since he isn't really a dominant pass rusher from inside. But let's not fool ourselves, right? Daquan Jones is everything that we've always um, expected from Starlo Tulele. When we saw our defense playing well and Starlo Tulele had zero tackles, zero everything on the box score, and we still thought no, but he frees up space for the linebackers. He takes on double teams. He's a force. All right, he's immovable inside. I don't think Star really was it, but Daquan Jones no doubt has been this guy. He was missed hugely against the Bengals, and he can win games for you with all the impact that he really is able to produce on the field. That's a guy who really made Tremaine Edmonds uh, step up his game. He keeps our linebackers free. He is really dominant against the run. He takes on double teams, really strong the point of attack. Major piece, no doubt. It's time for Brandon Bean to give him an extension, and so he can allow his cap hit this year, open some space right in the salary cap. So Daquan Jones is a guy you can that can win games for you, even though you won't see him winning games for you the majority of the time. All right. On the other hand, Ed Oliver has showed flashes with his pass rush prowess. All right. I think he had some games. He had a stretch of 3 or 4 games where he played really well. He flashed in the backfield. He made plays, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't consistent. We didn't see it in the playoffs. Um, we didn't see it consistently, especially after we missed Von Miller and we needed a guy stepping up. So I think Oliver is a good defensive tackle. He offers you those flashes, but he's in that dominant force that win games for you as a pass rusher. I think he's explored a little bit in the run game since he's in the biggest defensive tackle. His size is a problem, and with all this trade talk, I definitely would move him if a second round pick is on the table. Uh, I don't know if somebody's gonna offer that because anybody offering a high draft pick for him is gonna need to resign him for a good value. So maybe a second is a reach, and maybe people offers a third, a fourth, and then I'm not sure if it's worth to move Oliver. I think he can have an impact this season, and then maybe the Bills will need to let him walk. Who knows? But he can offer a good season. So you can win with him, all right? And that's our first team defensive line. The second team defensive line, I'm going to start with Jordan Phillips because I have him as a guy you can win with. And don't be fooled about the tape from his latest games. Guy was playing on one arm, and I can't believe he was allowed to play at that situation because it was really ugly, and he was playing literally on one arm, and I can describe it in the other way. Sorry, it was ugly. It was unacceptable to put a guy on that situation on the field. Okay, I admire that he wanted to help, but anybody playing healthy could do a better job. Eli Cook, Deep Saddle, elevate Corbin Bryant, but don't let Jordan Phillips play that way because it was like he couldn't do anything playing on one arm. He was taken out of the game consistently trying to play that way. But if he's healthy, okay, I believe, okay, Jordan Phillips can play at the level Ed Oliver plays. Sorry, I know a lot of people won't agree with me there, but if you can resign Jordan Phillips for shit, offer some kind of incentives in his contract, I'd easily move Oliver and do that with Jordan Phillips, adding another defensive tackle in the free agency, in the draft for the rotation, because I really believe Jordan Phillips, playing healthy, can offer what Ed Oliver offer us with pass rush, with dominant pass rush flashes. All right, and he's bigger, his size is a plus. So I really like Jordan Phillips. I don't think he's gonna have a lot of opportunities in the free agency. People aren't uh, really wanting to throw money at Jordan Phillips' way, in my opinion, especially with his tape from his latest games playing injured. So I think I would really be fine with bringing Phillips back and moving at Oliver with for a pick and moving that all that creating all that space with Oliver traded. All right. Other than Jordan Phillips, a healthy Jordan Phillips, AJ Peneza, Tim Settle, and Shaq Lawson, and let's put Boogie Basham in here too. All guys that needs to play better. All right. We saw that Von Miller was out, and we had Epineza, we had actually Shaq Lawson starting, right? But we need better. We need better. I appreciate Shaq Lawson's job. He has a motor that doesn't stop. He's a high energy guy, but you need better than him as a starting edge. Same thing with Peneza. I think he has shown some flashes as a pass rusher, but just not consistent enough in a liability against the run to be your starter. Boogie Basham, I'm a big fan. Okay, I really I really think Boogie can still be good, but right now he's just not it. You need better. You need better than those guys. All right. Moving to the linebacker spots. Tremaine Edmonds, free agent. Matt Milano. Let me start with Milano. I have in a red guy here, a superstar. He can win games for you, no doubt. All right. And made big time piece, hugely important to this defense, especially if Edmonds is gone. What I believe is going to happen with all his latest comments, Edmonds gonna be paid. I have no doubts about it. All it takes is one team to overpay, and I think somebody, maybe Detroit, uh, somebody is gonna overpay Tremaine, and I believe he's gone. Okay, I think Edmonds is a guy who can win games for you. I'd like to see it more often. I think the consistency isn't right there where we would like, but that same talk as always. He's still young. He's 25. Some rookies are gonna be 24, and he's 25. So he's a great talent, hugely experienced. Called the plays on the defense. So he's really important. I think Bean is gonna try to bring him back. I don't think he'll be able to. And but I put him as a guy who can win games for you. I would like to have him back. I just don't see him coming back, and I won't be really disappointed if he doesn't come back. I think you can try to find cheaper options that can play not maybe not as good, but can play well too, and you can reallocate that money on in other positions that you maybe need more. So uh, Edmonds might be gone. I have him as a guy who can win games for you, and the backups. Bernard, we've seen almost nothing, right? And we can't have an idea. I have him as a backup for Edmonds here, and if Edmonds is gone, I'd like to believe he's in consideration to be the replacement. Okay, I'd love to believe that because the guy was a third round pick last year, and when he was drafted and out of nowhere under the radar guy for the majority of us, and I was like, let me do my research on this guy because what does he bring to the table? And Bernard was like, okay, insanely smart guy, calls the defense, team captain type, leadership qualities. So everything screamed team captain, middle linebacker, uh, with the calling the defense and making the communication work between coaching staff and the defensive side of the ball. So that's at that point, from this point of view, Bernard makes a lot of sense replacing Edmonds, right? The problem is from the athletically speaking point of the view, Bernard is a Milano, right? Same size, same weight, same style of playing. And okay, Milano is awesome, but having two Milanos and Bernard at this point, we can't really put him as a Milano, right? A poor man Milano. Uh, Despite it looking great at some standards as thinking about coverage and things like that, you're gonna miss the size. You're gonna miss the punch that Edmonds brings to the table. And Bernard is really on the smaller side, so it's not so easy to insert him as your Mike linebacker and expect that you won't suffer against the run. You won't suffer with people running and sending those offensive linemen to the second level and seeing Bernard and Milano having trouble to disengage against those guys, right? So I really can't believe being drafted a guy who's solidly Matt Milano's backup, and that's it. Because Milano was already resigned, he was supposed to be here for a long time, and I get that he's injured here and there. He's nicked up, he misses some games, but when you draft a guy in the third round, you expect him to at least be an option when your star middle linebacker is a free agent 1 year from now, right? So Edmonds is a free agent. He might be gone, and Bernard must be an option here, must be considered here, in my opinion. Even though you need to bring competition via draft, via free agency, you gotta have a guy with size. And if this experiment doesn't work, you must have somebody to step up. But I really need to consider Bernard here. All right. Right now, he's a you need better guy. He needs to show we haven't seen enough. All right. Klein need better, no doubt. Need better, right? Dodson need better. Like Dodson, but need better. Matakevich, guy from special teams, right? You can't really expect him to contribute with the defense. Spector, rookie last year. Right now, I need better guy. So Edmonds being gone might be a problem. It might force the Bills to draft early, okay, find a linebacker early in the draft, or spending on free agency on one. I like Okereke, okay. If I like Dave Long from the Titans, played insanely well some years ago against us, flashes all the time, has the leadership qualities. I'm curious for Bernard, want to see him, but if Bean can work out something with Lavonte David, Bobby Wagner, those kind of guys, it would be interesting too, and would keep the same playing level as Edmonds, in my opinion. Okay, we've seen defensive line, we've seen linebackers. Let's move on to the secondary, right? Cornerback positions. Starting from the slot, the nickel cornerback, since those guys are asked to do some linebacker work sometimes, especially Taron Johnson. Taron Johnson is a guy you can win with, in my opinion. All right. Taron Johnson is really physical. He can do things that a lot of defensive backs, a lot of cornerbacks can't. He tackles really well, but to have a cornerback who can win games for you, I really believe he needs to be those shutdown type. All right, and I don't think Taron Johnson is this kind of the guy. All right, if you play against the Rams and have Cooper Kupp or any of those elite slot wide receivers, Taron Johnson isn't the guy who's gonna give a run for their money. All right, so I can't have him a guy who can win games for you, but he's almost there. As Daquan Jones is here, the case can be made as if Daquan Jones can win games for you with all his dirty job. Maybe Taron Johnson should deserve to be here too. So he's closer to the next tier, the upper tier, than the low tier, in my opinion. All right, Siren, you need better, and then the outside guys. Davis White. I think a lot of people are gonna be mad at me because I don't have him right now. The latest we've seen from Davis White game, I don't have him as a guy who can win games for you. Sorry. He might be able. I really hope and expect him to work hard this offseason and come back next season really stronger and back to the level we are used to. A guy who can win games for you. But right now, uh, with the latest we've seen coming back from an ACL, I don't have Tre'Davious White as an elite guy. The reason is the same thing as I said about Taron. Tre'Davious White right now isn't a shutdown guy. Okay, he makes some great plays here and there, but we've seen the Bengals uh, in the Mark Hamlin game, first play from first play in the game, they target Trey, sent the guy deep and threw at him. So and they draw a flag on that play. So Tre'Davious White right now is in a shutdown corner. He understands the defense. He plays great zone. He's experienced. He's a leader. Great guy. You can win with him, but he's in game. He's in winning games for you right now. Okay. Hope he can get back there by the beginning of the season. Then Kyrie Elam, another guy who I believe you can win with. Okay. He played great against Miami. What he did against Tyreek Hill, few guys in the league can do that. All right, and I have great expectation for Kyrie Elam. McDermott must play him more. No excuses anymore. All right, and we gotta see more from Kyrie Elam. I think we can win with him, and he has all the potential in the world to become a guy who can win games for you, shut down people. So I'm really excited to see year two of Kyrie Elam. Dane Jackson, free agent. You need better. Sorry, Dane is always there, right there. Might have been very unlucky on a lot of those completed passes against him, but the guys were mossing him all over the field all the time. I admire him. I think he does a great job for a smaller guy. He's always there. He plays good coverage. He understands the defense. Uh, he just needs a little bit more to make the plays. And as I said, he might have been unlucky, but you need better. I'd like to have him back though as a depth option. All right, I think he has a good floor, and I think he can step up a little and make those plays. Then Christian Benford, McDermott today said again the plan is saying watching Christian Benford at corner, watching him a little bit at safety too. Being said that they want the best players on the field, no matter if it's a cornerback at safety. So with Poyer might going to other team, very probably it's happening. Benford might be the option, might be one of the options to step up and be a starter at safety. Love the kid. He's really physical. Okay, he has good size, tackles well. I like him at cornerback, and I'd like to see him at safety. Uh, I don't know. I have him as a bit better, but I have he's really near that tier that you can win with. The reason I have him as a need better is because of this situation. Uh, he might be a cornerback that we can win with. I believe he is. Okay, going to year two. Would have liked to have seen him more, but at safety we have no clue. We need to see. So that's why he's at need better. Cam Lewis need better, and let's move to safety. All right, Micah Hyde. The latest we've seen from Micah Hyde is a guy who can win games for you. So he could easily be at the tier one, definitely elite guy can win games for you. The reason he isn't is because he didn't play last year, right? We don't know how he's coming back. He's a 32-year-old guy. So we're not sure he can still win games for you the way he used to. So let's see. I still have him a guy who can win games for you, but there is a question mark, all right? I hope he comes back stronger than ever and keeps playing at the highest level. Jordan Poyer can win games for you. Played nicked up all season, but the Bills lost one game with Poyer in the lineup, so it speaks a lot about the guy. Don't see him coming back, right? He needs to strike out on the free agency to come back. I think somebody's gonna pay what he wants or close to it. I don't think the Bills are nowhere near paying that. he already talked about, voiced his frustration with New York, Texas. So hard to see him coming back. And if so, he's a guy who I'd love to have back with height, one more season at least, and can win games for you. But I think he's gone. Bamford is our only option right now to replace Poyer, and we have to see. We have no idea about Bamford at safety, despite his good play at cornerback as a rookie. And Zane Anderson, coming from the Chiefs, athletic guy, had some snaps, playing defense for Andy Reid's Chiefs. Majorly a special teams guy, but I'm intrigued because let's be honest, when Poyer arrived, nobody expected an all-pro, pro bowler type player out of Jordan Poyer when he was signed. Uh, Micah Hyde was a nice nickel corner for Green Bay, but also nobody expected the growth and how they became all pros, right? So I'm not saying Anderson is the next Poyer, is the next Hyde, but he has some tools to work with, right? So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how the Bills try to use him, and I wouldn't write him over and say he has no shot. Okay, he might be able to compete and surprise. Okay, but the Bills need to check free agency, check the draft, do their diligence at the safety position, and guarantee they have interesting pieces to work with and to guys that have the potential to step up and become the new high, the new Poyer, surprise all of us with good play. Hopefully they can fight this type of guy. And I don't believe I like Ken Lewis, but he made huge mistakes on some opportunities that really masked his good play. And Damar Hamlin, we can't count on him. We have no clue about his situation going forward. I don't think we can. I liked his play during last season, but we can't count on him for next season. So, without moving anybody, this defense looks good. There is a reason this defense has been top one, top five the last 2 years. But and this defense was dominant early last season, but we missed one, right? And our defensive line just doesn't look so good anymore. And then we missed uh, we missed height, right? Before Vaughn, so missed another elite guy there, all right? And then Poyer got injured and didn't play a lot most of the time, or a lot of the time too. So the defense starts to become nicked up, and we don't know how good they are anymore, right? So we saw that we have problems during the playoffs. Leslie Frazier is out. McDermott it's don't get me wrong, all right? I think yes, Frazier called the plays, but it was Sean McDermott's defense all the time, and now he's gonna take on the responsibility and call the plays. I expect to see some changes, but it's still McDermott's defense. So next season, Hyde is back, probably without Poyer, probably without Edmonds. Okay, Von Miller out for the beginning of the season, and that's the defense we have for the beginning of next season. If we don't move Oliver, all right. Anyway, if you move Oliver and have Phillips back, it's still a guy who can win games. You can win with. So, looking at this defense, how do you see it? Are you confident in this unit? I don't know. I think we really gotta invest at least on one more pass rusher. I'm not really comfortable with Ekanese starting. Neither Bashan. They gotta prove themselves. So bringing one more pass rusher here, um, I think it's a must. Then at linebacker, you need at least in this position, Mike linebacker. You gotta have a guy you can win with. You can't have a guy who you need better. This is a guy who plays all the time in this defense, calls the defense, So we really, really need somebody to step up here. Is it Bernard? In my opinion, to have Bernard, to have a shot here, probably you gotta move Oliver and have more size at your defensive tackle position. And maybe if you miss the size from Edmonds here, you book up the defensive tackle position and try to fix it this way. All right. Anyway, right now Ed Oliver is a starter, and you gotta have another option here at the Mike linebacker. You gotta have a guy you can win with here at the other safety position. So Benford and Bernard are unknowns here right now, and we still don't know if Hyde is still that guy that can win games for you. He might be a guy you can win games with right now until he really gets used to play again. So a lot of question marks. In my opinion, you gotta have one more pass rusher. You gotta decide what to do with Oliver. Is Bernard have a shot? You gotta improve Oliver maybe, or have a bigger guy here. Okay. You gotta have competition for Bernard. He's far from a sure thing as a Mike guy, being a small guy. And you might have competition here. You might have somebody who you can win games with at the safety position. So overall, you gotta improve your offensive line at two positions, at least two can win games with. All right. You gotta have at least one more guy here to become a can win games for you or win games with. I won't say at wide receiver two, but in general as a playmaker, run back, slot guy, wide receiver two. You want to improve this offense. It can't be Josh and Diggs all the time, especially without the help from the offensive line. On the defense, find a Mike who you can trust. Find another safety who you can trust. All right, and another nice piece as a pass rusher, so you don't miss Vaughn that much until he's ready to get back and dominate again. All right, Mafia. So that's my opinion that on the state of the roster, especially the starting lineups. What do you think? I'm curious to check on your opinions. I'm really curious to interact and to have this kind of discussion with you. More than 1 hour. It's very common on my leading the charts. Sorry for that, but I hope you enjoyed it, and can't wait to talk to you via Buffalo Rumblings comment sessions, via YouTube comment sessions, and so we can talk and discuss about the state of this roster. Do the Bills have enough? Let me know, Bills Mafia. It was a pleasure to be with you, and see you soon. Go Bills!